Hello, beautiful people. Today we are making bread. So I have 3 cups of spelt flour in my mixer. There's the beans from the other day. We have 1 1/8 cups of water, which I bring up to between, let's see if I can get that. There you go, between 110 and 115. And we've got yeast. And I'm going to use approximately 2.5 cups, or teaspoons. 1, 2.5. I make all of our bread. I've had to make our bread since Hubs was diagnosed with his illnesses a while ago, and I talked about that on our How We Got Here video. Still no counters. He can't have white flour, so I figured out how to do my bread with spelt flour and still have amazing results. So we want to get all of that yeast. See how they're on the, see this little thing? This is why I don't like dishwashers, because they frost up all your glassware. I have begged Hubs not to put this in the dishwasher, but I'm sure if I put one of his tools in there and rusted it, it would be different. All right, so we have our 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, and it's dissolved. And now we're going to get some salt. And I use about a tablespoon. It's just something else I buy. I buy everything in bulk. Who am I kidding? And then sugar, we're going to use 2 tablespoons. 1. Oops, you can't see in there, can you? 2. We're going to make sure we get that dissolved real well. And this recipe is great for regular flour as well. If you're using regular flour, you're going to want to use an all-purpose flour, not self-rising flour. Most of you know that, because self-rising flour has baking soda in it. And now we're going to add about a tablespoon of oil. So I also use this recipe to make us buns. I don't change it up. I know there's particular recipes out there that are just a little bit different that are for buns. I don't do that. Usually I'll let this sit so that I can see it foaming on the top and know that my yeast is good. But I've been working out of this yeast for a couple weeks. And the date on it is June 15th of 2022. So I think we're good. So now we're going to take this concoction we're going to pour it in, and because of the way a KitchenAid works, and this is going to get loud, I don't start the mixer and then pour it in. I just go ahead and pour it in. Alright, and so we're going to let this mix until it all turns into one big ball. Alright, and once it looks like this, and again I apologize for the noise, we're going to let this knead for 7 to 10 minutes. So after our 7 to 10 minutes, you see the elasticity of that dough? That's how you tell that it's done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to spray. Now you can use a drop of oil and smear it around with your fingertips or a paper towel, but I just happen to have this spray right here. We don't need the hook on there anymore. We can take that over to the sink. And we are going to put our bread in there to raise. And we're going to cover it with this paper towel. Oh my goodness. This dish towel. And I will actually spritz this with just a little bit of water. You don't want it sloppy wet, but it just keeps your dough from drying out. And actually, I let it sit right there on my KitchenAid to keep anybody being the hubs, from taking that towel off. So we're going to let it raise for an hour. And then after an hour, we're going to punch that loaf down, and we're going to put it into, I use, well, we'll just get one out here. I have these stoneware loaf pans, and I will spray it or wipe oil around the inside of it, and then we'll put the towel over it and we'll let it raise a second time. And then once it's raised the second time for an hour, then we'll put it in the oven at 390 goodness, for 25 minutes. And that really just depends on your oven. Now that I'm on gas, things seem to be cooking better. With the electric, it goes, the temperature goes way down and it comes up, and I honestly think my stove had one foot in the grave anyway. But 390 for probably 25 minutes, sometimes 30. And then as soon as it comes out, and here's the secret I'll tell you, is I'll spray the top of it again, or I'll wipe it with butter. And that just basically, when you're putting that over the top crust of the bread, that is keeping all the steam that's inside the air pockets inside the bread from coming out, so it self-steams. It makes your bread softer, and then it also it gives you that nice caramel colored crust that you're looking for. And it just makes the bread more beautiful, and it tastes better. And then we store it in a 2-gallon Ziploc bag, but you can't put it in the bag until it has completely cooled. If you put it in before it has cooled, that condensation that you're going to get from it being warm is going to make it mold quicker. So you want to make sure that that loaf is completely cooled. And I'll actually take it out of the loaf pan to cool and set it on my cooling rack. And that's it. That's how I make our bread every week. Be blessed and be a blessing.